Welcome to The Vault at 201 North Broadway, podcast for innovators and problem solvers talking all things small business, entrepreneurship, and workforce development. On today's episode, you're meeting us, the creators and hosts of The Vault, Carly, Marcel, and Kayla. In this episode, we'll be sharing stories about ourselves. You'll get to learn a bit more about who we are and why we're so excited to share with you about all the fun things we'll talk about on this podcast.
Thank you to the Small Business Development Center for sponsoring The Vault at 201 North Broadway. The Small Business Development Center provides free one-on-one counseling, business plan assistance, market research, financial projection assistance, and more to small businesses.
Okay, so let's start, everyone. I have a question. What's your dream car? Like the car you'd love to have as your main car, or maybe just like your secondary fun car?
I would do a Toyota 4Runner because I have dogs, and it seems super handy to just put them in the back.
And how many dogs do you have? So we can tell everyone so they understand.
I'm a crazy dog lady. I have 24. I'm just kidding. I have 3. I have 2 pugs and a Catahoula mix, healer mix. And so they keep me busy. Wildly different sizes.
So the 4Runner would be nice for you because
I can stuff them all in the back.
Keyword. Okay.
Yeah. Put them all in the back. And then it has that window that you can kind of control. And so like my dogs are one of those dogs that would jump out of the vehicle while it's moving.
Very intelligent.
And so I can adjust it so it's just like my big guy's face poking through. And he couldn't get his body out, and the pugs never would be able to get up there. So yeah. Well, and I also like it's got towing capabilities. It's be a really good garage sale car. You know, you just drop those seats down and then you can fit all sorts of stuff in there.
Okay, we should come back to that later. Carly.
Yeah, so I like to call it my car show car. It would definitely be the one that sits in a garage under a cover, and then I bring it out in the summers too.
Like that you go to parades in and stuff.
In a parade, I drive by the beach in it.
Okay, the beach. Okay, the beach in Montana. Got it.
4-pack, here we come.
I'm driving across the 4-pack dam in it. Yeah. Actually, maybe.
I love it with your hair. Okay. Yeah.
It would be a 1965 red Ford Mustang Convertible.
Ooh.
I would also love for it to have white leather seats. They're probably not the most practical, but again, this is my car that sits in the garage under a cover, and I only drive it across the 4-peg dam.
With your hair blowing in the wind, with a scarf and large sunglasses.
Yes.
I love it.
To complete the look.
Marcel, how about you?
I would love an older modeled Mini Cooper.
Oh, cute.
Like the little older ones. Like the new ones are really cute too, I think. But I just love the like classic look of the older styled Mini Cooper.
I feel like I need to have some old car, but
you know, like that's cute and you could drive around, and it's little though. You know, like European cars are tiny.
Yeah.
But I just am a sucker for a Mini Cooper.
And you also get 1,000,000 miles to the gallon.
Yeah. My brother loves Mini Coupes as well.
Okay.
Loves them. Gosh, if he could drive them, but they're just not super realistic for Montana winters. But
no, and they are really small. Like my family wouldn't. Like my dad or like my brother, they're like giants, so they would not really fit. But it would be for me.
Yeah.
You know, like for me to drive to work.
That's your thing.
Exactly.
I like it.
I couldn't fit anything in it, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
So
Toyota, Ford, and Mini Coupe. We're here for you if you need us to drive any of your vehicles.
We're ready. We're available. You know, like, or the companies that do the detailing or the leather install of seats.
Yeah.
Things like that. We're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, we're here.
Yeah. Okay. Carly, let's start with you. Like, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, tell us about you.
She's a pretty cool
cat.
I currently am the marketing specialist at Big Sky Economic Development, and I do all sorts of, social media, content creation, any area of marketing.
And workforce?
Yeah. So that's something cool that both Marcel and I are hybrid. And we get to, when people ask what I do, I say I do a little bit of everything. And so, it's really fun to get to work in workforce development and also have that creative aspect of marketing.
That's cool. It is hybrid, I would say, speaking from experience.
Yeah. I mean, you guys do amazing work with Billings Works and the marketing department. Definitely helps my department.
What is your department, Kayla?
Yeah.
Who are
So,
you?
Well,
I mean, what do you do at Big Sky?
I have fun. I run around in
You
Superman
are the
capes.
Christmas party person too.
The resident fun guy.
You bring that energy.
We have another coworker, Heather, who's giving me a run for my title, but I have to break her down.
I think you still got it. Sorry, Heather.
No, but I am a Small Business Development Center business advisor and the training manager for the Small Business Development Center as well. And so what I do on a daily basis is help small businesses and entrepreneurs grow, start, expand, pivot anywhere that they could be in that eventually have an exit strategy. So every day, every hour looks a little bit different. And I love what I do. I get to help small businesses, and who doesn't get jazzed about that? I mean, I got jazz hands right now.
I know, you're so excited. I wish I was videoing it, but I'm not. So that's so exciting. What a fun job to have.
Yeah, tell us about you.
Yeah, I'm our director of marketing and Billings work. So working every day with Carly, which is always exciting. No day looks the same. I think I would agree with Carly when people are like, well, what do you do? Well, when you say you work in economic development, people are like, no idea what that is. And Big Sky is so unique too, because we have, our so many government related programs like SBDC, VBOC. We'll tell you guys about these acronyms on a different day. PTAC,
We'll have a whole other episode on just the acronyms.
Yes, we will. It'll be short and sweet. But so I think it's just different every day because we have organizational marketing, programmatic, PR and communications, and then workforce development, like working with businesses or working in the realm of talent attraction and retention. So really no day is the same.
Isn't that what's so fun about what we do? Yeah. Is that every day is different. And
it is.
We get to meet so many different people.
We do.
It's so cool.
And I would say, like, being in this new building that we're recording this cool podcast in, it's definitely a better reflection of, like, our culture. Like, I really feel like our team gets to be our team and, like, in how we actually are. Not that our other space it just wasn't as cool, and it wasn't as great of a reflection of, like, what we actually do have to offer as an organization. So it's, like, really fun. Yeah. Our jobs are fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, tell me how, what was your life growing up?
Yeah.
What
so
brought
what got
you
me
to
here?
Yeah.
What got me here? So I grew up in eastern Montana in a town called Ekalaka.
I just love saying Ekalaka.
Ekalaka.
It's like Weibo. I also like to say Weibo.
They were our biggest rival growing up.
Oh, I'm so sorry to bring it up.
Don't say them together.
Funny fun fact, Ekalaka doesn't have a lake, but if you spell Ekalaka Lake backwards, it's Ekalaka Lake. That was like a funny thing growing up, But I graduated with like 9 kids. So students, kids, whatever.
Let's just clarify that. Marcel's graduation class was 9 kids.
Yeah,
9 people.
Our town is like 400 to 500, probably 4. We're going up in the census, but what that like taught me growing up.
The census just reported.
Exactly. Ekalaka's growing. It's like ranked 2 compared to Bozeman, which is cool. But just that, like the value and importance of community, I think is something really big. Like you were involved in everything because you had to be growing up. So getting to work here, it kind of has that same piece. I grew up working in the summers with my dad with our fencing company. So building barbed wire fences was my summer life, which was, real exciting. No, I'm kidding. It was good. But, and then just in school involved in like as much as I could be, volleyball, basketball, track for a while, extracurriculars like FCCLA, student government, lots of other things that I won't bore you with. FCCLA, which Carly was part of that too. So I love that. She'll get to tell you about that later. And then I graduated, and then I came to school to Billings, and I attended Rocky Mountain College. And I majored in business and poli-sci for most of it. And then I dropped the poli-sci and just went straight to business. Funny. And I worked at different things through college. I did an internship at the chamber. I reffed basketball and volleyball for a while. I was a writing center tutor. And that was fun to get involved with that. But I got an internship at the chamber, which also didn't really know what a chamber was at the time, where like my supervisor at the dental office I was working at was like, you should do an internship at the chamber. And I was like, cool. What's a chamber?
What does that mean?
It took me a while to even learn. So I emailed them and I ended up getting an internship. I stayed on part-time through my senior year of college. And then when I was to graduate, they offered me a job, which was super awesome. And it was such a great experience. I stayed there for a little over a year after that. And then I switched over to Big Sky, and I've had a list of different jobs while at Big Sky, which is cool. So I learned a lot of different things. And then I, within that different role at Big Sky, I worked a lot with the former workforce development director, the marketing director. And so I ended up, as they left, and absorbed both of those positions. And we got Carly.
We did. I like to say we intern failed, but people get really confused about that because they don't know foster fail. And the foster fail just means that you ended up adopting the dog or cat that you were fostering. And so that's what we did with Carly is with our intern.
We intern
failed because we hired her on and we kept her. Yeah.
So Carly, what about you?
You too grew up in a very tiny town.
Marcel and I actually have a pretty very similar story.
Which I like. I think that's why. Yeah. Anyways, you tell us.
I grew up in Northeast Montana, so kind of the opposite corner of, same side, but
go eastern Montana.
Upper corner of Montana, above the High Line. So it's frigid up there.
Really close to Canada.
I think it made me strong during the long winters.
You have very thick skin.
Yeah, I walked uphill both ways to school in 6-foot snowbanks. No, that's what it felt like sometimes.
With no shoes.
Yeah. So I grew up in Scobie, Montana. Very small town, but bigger than Ekalaka. But it was very much the same feeling of you have a limited number of students, and so they're all involved in everything. You try to recruit as many kids as you can because you can't have a basketball team, you can't have this club unless so many students are in all the different things. So my main things were music. Music has always been a huge part of my life, and I started at 4 years old playing the violin, and so I just was committed. I played a variety of instruments in high school. I played piano, and I sang. That was a big thing for me. So that was a lot of involvement. I also did a lot of clubs. As Marcel mentioned, I did FCCLA. For those of you who don't know, that's Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. And I think it is one of the most important organizations Montana high schools can have, because it does give you that exposure to I don't know if home ec is the correct term anymore, but family and consumer sciences, as well as really important leadership skills.
And you got to take really cool trips. If you did, if you were a national officer like Carly, or if you got a gold at state, then you got to go to Nashville, Orlando, Chicago, Anaheim, all these cool places.
Yeah. Wow. My freshman year, I had no idea still what FCCLA was. And so I competed in an event, got gold at state, got to go to nationals, got gold at nationals. And that was what really lit my fire, not only for FCCLA. So I went on to be a state officer, but also for all the other CTSOs I was in, like BPA, which is Business Professionals of America. I got to go to nationals a couple times for that. And so it just really beefed up my leadership skills. And it also makes me super passionate about the work I do in Billings Works now, with that career and education connection, and making sure kids are involved in a lot of those career readiness organizations, because it shows you at an early age that one, you are capable of it. It's really good on resumes, and it gives you that experience. But yeah, so there's a deep dive into being really involved in high school. But it is an awesome thing about small schools. And so I left Scobie in the summer of 2017 to attend Rocky Mountain College. And I had 4 older siblings that also are Rocky Mountain College alumni. So go Bears. And they kind of led the way for me, and family is a huge thing to me. So I wanted to, essentially follow them to Rocky, and I double majored in small business management and communication studies. I thought for sure coming out of high school, I was going to own a business. Maybe someday still, but I quickly realized that it's really hard for 18, 19-year-old to just have a business idea and start a business. It's not impossible, that's for sure. But
after you take Scott Severance's retailing class, you maybe think second about any business, anything, speaking from experience.
Yeah, so communications was my interest, and I still love communications. I love, talking with people. I mean, it's more than just talking, but I also love that, like, analyzing conversation and learning how people communicate and studying that. And it's it's one of the most powerful things about human beings is communication. And so it was something that I really wanted to dive deeper into. So I graduated, before I graduated, similar to Marcel, I needed an internship through Rocky, and I was connected to Big Sky Economic Development by a friend. And like Marcel, didn't know what economic development was. I had never heard of.
We still learn every day on what. I'm like, that's economic development.
It's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. And so I had just told my advisor at Rocky that I was really interested in, like social media. And she's like, oh, well, I know a Rocky alum, Marcel Bruschi. She works with this thing called Better Off in Billings. And I looked it up on Instagram and I was like, sounds great. And so after a while, I got connected to Big Sky Economic Development, and I interned starting in the summer throughout my senior year. And then after I graduated, it just stroke of luck. A job position came open.
Stroke of luck. No, I'm going to clarify there. We made a job for Carly because we just really, she just brings so much value to our organization with her position and her enthusiasm and creativity that we just we're like, no, we're making a position so we can keep her.
We couldn't lose her.
Thank you. I have that like imposter syndrome where I'm like, I wake up some mornings or I'll like be sitting at my desk. I'm like, what happened? Like, how did I get here?
Every day. I'm like,
but
here we are, adulting.
Yeah.
It's
on
fun.
A podcast.
Yeah. How did I end up on a podcast? But it's fun to look back and reflect and think about, like, Marcel said, being involved in all those organizations and growing up in a small town, you have that really strong sense of community. And I think, fate and the universe just was like, here are all these experiences, and boom, now you're doing a podcast in a vault at Big Sky Economic Development. So it's, yeah.
What was your graduation size?
I had 21 in my class.
21.
Yep.
All right. Well,
that was like half of our high school population. Not kidding. No, but Scoey, weren't your colors like blue and gold?
Yep. Go Spartans.
Mm-hmm. We were the Bulldogs.
I was
Lady Bulldogs.
I was a Bruin.
A what?
A Bruin.
Oh.
Like a bear.
Oh.
Bruin bear. Yep. That's what I was.
FCCLA also had it at nationals. So I don't know why I thought like mascots and school spirit and all of that. So you'd get sectioned off in these big national conferences right by your state.
Oh.
And there were pins and you could exchange pins. There was this thing of like, you wanted to collect other pins. So you would get Montana pins and give them out so you could get like, like Florida pin and Nashville or like Tennessee, all of this. There's also a Montana chant, which we can do later. I don't remember all of it, but like it would be like this whole cohort of like Montanans like doing the Montana chant.
We might have to bring an FCCLA person on here.
Yes, that would be fun.
Yeah,
because it's like a huge, I think Carly hit it on the head of like, it does teach you a lot. And I think people maybe think of like, oh, home ec, but like, no, such a powerful organization.
I had no idea what that group was until I met you.
Well, and I threw around the acronym CTSO, which I want to clarify is a Career and Technical Student Organization. And you hear a lot too of CTE, which is Career and Technical Education, which is where that Billings Works piece comes in. We do a lot of that career to education connection. And they have other terms now too, but when I was in high school, CTSO and CTE were big terms.
Like I even dressed up as an Oompa Loompa and sang, and then I dressed up as Princess Jasmine and sang for my presentation.
Wow. That is some
we won't be going through that again. But
I would dress up as an Oompa Loompa with you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Ooh, or I'll be Willy Wonka.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Kayla, what about you? Like, give us a little bit about what led you to this.
I did not grow up in a small town.
That's okay.
Part of my childhood was in New Jersey. It's where I was born. And then when I was 8 years old, my parents moved us to Montana.
Which is a fun story.
It is a fun story. If you ever want to hear it, we can share it one day. But we ended up in Helena, Montana, and that's where I, finished out my, third grade is when we moved, so 3 through 12.
And you were Bears.
And I was a Bruin, yeah. I was a Bruin. Okay. I went to Capitol High.
What's the color of
it?
That?
Is brown and
Oh.
Maybe it's brown and gold. I think it's brown and yellow.
Ooh.
I had so much school spirit.
Yeah, Kayla had a lot of consensus. It's oozing out.
But yeah, my graduating class, I think, was like 250, 300 kids. So definitely a lot different, a lot more people to get in touch with. I think that's why I have such good relationship skills. Not saying that you guys don't, but that for me, that was like, you always had to have relationships. And I'm always interested in people's stories. And so I always want to talk to people. Mm-hmm. I don't do great public speaking in large groups of people, but I do really well getting to know people one-on-one. And so maybe that's because I went to a bigger school, or maybe because I'm just generally curious. I also come from a big family. I'm one of 6 kids.
Wow.
Number 4 in the mix. And I think that also taught me to talk over people. So I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it's, you kind of want to get your word in, and in a big family, you have to do that in order to
You have forward. To be assertive.
Yeah, you have to be assertive.
I would imagine.
And, a little bit of a go-getter. You kind of, if you want some more dinner, you got to finish up fast. So older brothers don't get there first,
Exactly.
But then from there, I've always been really interested in baking. And
you're a great baker.
Cooking. Well,
my family refers to her as Kayla, your friend that's a baker.
Yes.
And I always say yes.
I'm the baking friend. And so ultimately throughout high school, I worked in and out of restaurants, did the barista thing for several years, and then decided, hey, I think I'm going to do this as a career. And so that's what brought me back to New Jersey as an adult, where I was going to go to a culinary institute in New York City. And so by the time before the next semester started, I ended up working at a bakery that supplied 4 other bakeries. We were high production. And so when I say high production, I'm talking about like I was stacking hundreds of cakes a day.
What a cool experience to have. Like such a unique, cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't have more arthritis in my hands at this age.
It's
but
coming. Don't you worry. From fencing and clipping.
Yeah,
or you'll
start to feel it.
Frosting and you don't just gag.
Oh yeah, it's still really hard to eat cake. But I think I tallied up. We used to make these bonbons, which is basically like these glorified cake pops. And in the year, just in like regular, not including any specialty orders, I think I made like 46,000 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So have you made one since?
No.
Okay.
No, I did. I did make little severed head ones for Halloween one year.
Oh.
And they were pretty darn cute.
That's fun.
And I made those brain ones.
Oh yeah, my family loved those.
I did make, I do, but very
Halloween's
small
a big
batches.
Deal. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. So very small batches. So then as I was going through this, cake production, I really decided I love visiting New Jersey because of the food, but I don't necessarily love living in New Jersey. I got the taste of the Montana life. The people are so much nicer, kinder. I was used to that. I grew up in that. And so although I really cherish the friendships that I made while I was out there, I'll give a shout out to my boss, Bobby, who I'll make listen to this, but I really do miss working with him. Yeah, his name was Bobby, and he is great, and we throw things back and forth to each other, but he taught me a lot throughout those years. But I was like, hey, I think I'm going to move to Montana. My family needed me, and I just came back out and opened up a cafe with my mom. And so we did the cafe life for a little over a year, and it failed, and that's okay. And I think that's a big part of the things that you'll learn on this podcast is you'll get to hear different people's stories, and failures not a bad thing. You were young,
yeah, when you did that, so if you did it again, you probably learned so much from that you would be
definitely
successful at the next.
Yeah. Well, I was 22,
which is young.
21 actually. I think 21 when I actually started the business. So I was super young, and I didn't have business background. I worked in the back end, so I could make all the things, but knowing the front end of things, the financial end of things was just not in my wheelhouse. Yet. And so, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and I truly believe if me and my mom would have known about the Small Business Development Center when we had our cafe, we would still be open to this day. But we just didn't know of that resource, and we didn't know what we were doing. And so that failed. And again, it's okay. We learned so much from it, and we would, if we ever did it again, we'd be able to know the different things that we'd want to do. But then from there, I got a job, and I started running an office here in town. And then I ended up working with the chamber, which made me meet Marcel. And I've been Marcel's friend for 7 years now, I think.
I know, since 2017. 2016.
2016.
Yeah.
So
Through Next Gen.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
met through Next Gen, which is a young professionals group that the chamber puts on. So if you're wanting to get connected, you're new to the business community here in Billings, I definitely recommend reaching out and getting connected with that Next Gen group. There's also, that group caps out at 40 years of age. And so if you're over that, they do have other groups that you can be a part of.
Yeah, that are fun too.
But that definitely helped me because I didn't grow up in Billings, so I didn't have a network of people. I didn't have a family other than my immediate family who had just moved here too. And so getting involved with a group like that, I was able to make more friends, long-term friends. I mean, Marcel, we have another friend named Allie who still works at the chamber. And I've been friends with them for, like I said, over 7 years. And so it's been awesome. And then through that connection with Marcel is why I actually ended up with my job at Big Sky Economic Development. So we're
so glad she's here.
Yeah. I started as an operations support specialist, part-time, SBDC support specialist as well. So I was doing operations and SBDC, and I really loved the SBDC part of it. So when the opportunity came to work full time in that department, I leaped at it and have been a business advisor for a little over 3.5 years.
And training.
For
you do
2.5
training
years.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Which you're like so good at that.
Yeah, I love training. I love helping people learn new things. So I'm getting much better at public speaking, and that has definitely helped with this training role. But I'm really grateful to work with the people that I do work with in order to facilitate all of these trainings and resources that we have. So, and that's who I am, where I've come from. And
yeah. And I think one like common theme that seems that we've heard from each of us is, community and networking, but not in like a, here's my business card kind of way, but really building those authentic and strong relationships through just being involved in the community. Or like Next Gen, same thing. Like absolutely. I came to school here, but I think that group really like set us up differently to like have stronger connections with each other and meet different types of businesses.
Like-minded individuals,
Yes, that want to be leaders and want to be connected in the community. So you really get to meet some cool people through that and just through our day-to-day work.
Definitely. And I, even though Marcel is probably the closest person I have out of that group, she's like my best friend.
Aw, ditto, Kayla. Ditto.
But I've met so many people, and I will see them out about in town, and they still remember me. We still connect. We talk all the time, when we see each other. And so I think that's just so important, is like just get involved. And then I would always say, do the give first mentality. Don't go into it going, what can this person do for me? Go, what can I do for this person? And I think that makes a huge difference in your relationships that you build.
Yeah. That's so good. So they're more authentic, right? Like they feel more real,
genuine, and yeah, because you're not there for anything. You're just there. And
them, like now we have like great friendship. Like you come to the family Halloween party that we were referencing, which we'll talk. That's a separate conversation. But like things like that where you really get to know someone, and it's crazy to think it's been that long. Carly was just starting college, but
actually, I was still in high school.
Carly's like, well, actually, old. I was still in high school, but I think, yeah.
And I think something too, as we're sharing our stories, it shows that the work we're doing right now, we're deeply passionate about. It's not just like there was a job opening and we walked into it. I mean, a little bit with my internship, I just walked into, but I knew that social media and Better Off in Billings just really resonated with me because I do love Billings and I love being here and I love social media and sharing about Billings. So I think it goes to show that the work that we're doing resonates with who we are, and we're really excited that this podcast is our chance to share it out even more because, like I mentioned with CTSOs, with Billings Works, Workforce Development, Career Education Connection, Kayla talked about she was a small business. She's been there, and so we're really excited to pull in our experiences, pull in other people in the community, and just talk about what we're passionate about and hopefully inspire other people.
I always say all the time, I'm very grateful to be one of those people that actually loves what I do every day. Like I get up and I get jazzed about who I can help on a daily basis. And I just feel like sometimes that's rare is to find.
I think it is, honestly.
Yeah, to actually love what you're doing.
And like be passionate about it. I think sometimes, and I joke with Carly, I'm like still figuring out what I want to do when I grow up, but I think like this is such a fun place to be. And I think sometimes it does take people, there's like people that are a lot older than us that still don't know.
Yeah.
Or like still don't love the day to day of what they get to do. But we have like a very fulfilling social job.
Exactly. Yeah. So we get to do a lot of fun things on a daily basis. And so I would say one of the most exciting things that this podcast is going to bring is it's going to bring a new outlet on business ownership, the resources that are available to you in the community. And then on top of that, you're going to hear really amazing stories from people who have been in it and are still doing it and are being successful, or maybe they're not being successful right now, and that's okay.
And they can share that.
But you're going to hear it, and that's going to help you. And so I think that's what's getting me jazzed.
Yeah, I know. I'm so excited anytime I'm like working on anything of this podcast. And also from a workforce point of view that Carly's been talking about too, like helping businesses start and grow is something that Kayla is very passionate about and has a lot of expertise in, but also resources like the CT and different things like that too, of that workforce pipeline, so growing your own, keeping them, but also recruiting people into the community and making sure that they find those groups and those things that they like and that engage them through. And we do that through our platform called Better Off in Billings, which I know we'll talk a lot about.
Yeah. So if you haven't went and liked it, go ahead, go on and like Better Off in Billings. See the great things that we're doing, the amazing things that this community has to offer to you.
Yeah. And we love Billings, and we can't wait to share throughout this podcast, like all of the cool things going on in our community.
Yeah. I should also tell you that this podcast is not just for the people of Billings. This is for anybody, anywhere. Exactly. Because these resources, although some of the things will be related directly to the work that we are doing here in the Billings community or the 9-county region that the SBDC covers here, but it could relate to you anywhere and what your community is doing or can be doing. And so I think that's really strong too.
Yeah. I mean, it's just small business tips, period. And like workforce tip, we'll talk
tips,
about
period. I
business
love it,
leader. Yeah.
Period.
So yeah, it doesn't, I mean, we're super excited to share people's stories from here in Billings or in Montana, but the same stories and like lessons learned can apply anywhere.
Yeah. So we're going to end each episode with some rapid fire questions. So you got to know us a little bit. And of course, you're just going to get to keep getting to know us through these episodes. But let's start with, ladies, what's your go-to coffee order?
A spiced chai. Hands down. And if I'm getting crazy with it,
ready.
An espresso shot in it and make that a spiced dirty chai.
A dirty little chai.
So fun. Carly, what's your go-to?
I'm definitely like a black coffee, just drip coffee or Americano. But my indulgence coffee, when I'm feeling good about myself, is a lavender latte. It is like the perfect blend
she's
of
the lavender lady.
Sweet, and it's not too sweet. It's just perfect. And it makes me feel very like girly and dainty.
I love it. It like just lavender just makes me think of like beautiful light purples and calm, which just that makes me think of Carly.
Purple is my favorite color.
Purple's
and
my
I
favorite
never
color.
thought of that, like connected the two.
Purple's your favorite color.
Black's my favorite color, but purple's a close up. Growing up, purple was my favorite color. My parents even let me paint my room purple, which was a really bad decision. And now it's not painted
my
purple.
room purple.
I still have
I knew black.
My childhood bedroom in my parents' home is still purple.
Oh my God. Who would have thought like all of us
purple rooms growing up. I had that sponge effect. I don't know if anyone else had the sponge effect.
My cousin Brittany had that, and it was like the coolest thing because she had it in purple, green, and blue.
Oh my God, that's the same thing. See? Purple, green, and blue.
My
mom
all
sat
purple.
there with a sponge and like sponged that all out.
I
was like champion.
2 shades of purple with black and white accents, but here's where it gets very 2012 when I painted it, that I had zebra accents.
Of course you did.
And guess what? They're still there.
We ended up painting because we built a new house, and then my parents let me pick, and I was like 5th, 6th grade. So it was like all purple, all 4 walls. But then that really did change very quickly. We painted another more like neutral color. But my dad, God bless him, that man put so many outlets in my room.
Good for him.
Because he knew I was a girl and girls need outlets. You need outlets.
There is never enough outlets.
Exactly. So
Never.
I had like 2 per wall. Yeah,
And
so
I
good.
want to know why they started this trend of a light switch affecting a plug,
Oh, that's so
Oh.
silly.
where it's just like, oh, you hit this. And I'm like, I get it. It's like you shut your light off and on that way. But like, you know what's super annoying? If you've got 3 light switches in a row and you can't remember which one's turning on your outlet.
I know. It's
All right.
That was just
Marcel.
my pet peeve for the day.
no, I love it.
Marcel, we want to know, what is your go-to coffee order?
You know, I'm just a basic person. Well, I'm not really. That's a lie. But Americanos are my favorite. Like, go to hot Americano. I like a cold brew. I like a dirty. What do they call it? It's like with lemonade and ice.
Dirty Palmer.
A dirty Palmer in the summers. It's like a guilty pleasure, delicious.
I need to try one of these.
And it's really good with fresh lemonade, I would say. But it's like this yummy ratio of like cold brew or an iced Americano with lemonade.
Yum.
It sounds weird, but
I would
try it.
I would.
We can try it.
I'm
in the
adventurous
summers.
with trying things.
Yes. Okay. Let's do like 2 more quick rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Do you want to ask one? You pick.
Absolutely. I'm just going to start with how I start my day.
Yes.
And then
I
everyone
love
can
that.
say how they start their day. I always have to get up and make my bed. I started doing that when I was like 11. I read an article that it makes you more productive if you get up and you make your bed because one task is completed already.
I'm a true believer of that also.
And
Yes.
so I have to get up and make my bed. That's how I start my day.
I love it.
And then I cuddle with my dogs because I have so
Aw.
many of them.
And you have to give them attention.
They all need love.
Not to steer you to another podcast, but speaking of making your bed, a great podcast if you're trying to get into that habit every morning, listen to the podcast Make Your Damn Bed.
Make
It
your
is
damn bed.
2 minutes of just like something uplifting or motivational to listen to. In that 2 minutes, you're making your bed every morning.
Oh,
Awesome.
Carly, did you have others you wanted to share?
Nope, that's
Okay.
it. Make my bed. Cuddle with my dogs.
How do I start my day?
Yeah.
I also make my bed because I agree that it does give that like little boost of like I did something productive today. And then I try to always eat breakfast, and that changes every day, but breakfast is a big deal to me now. And then I have a cup of coffee, and that's usually it. I
love that.
try to keep it simple. I like to have slow mornings, quiet mornings, and I guess getting ready. That's
but that's like
it's like
Yeah.
brush my teeth, do my skincare,
mhm.
maybe put some makeup on, depending on how I'm feeling.
where you're going, what you're doing that day.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think for me, making the bed, yes, because I think like when you come home, your space is like it's put together, and I just think that does like wonders for a human being, like just to have that like space clean and put together. But I love like daily movement, so I like get up and I go to the gym. I get up, I have my workout clothes like ready, so I can just grab them, put them on. I put my hair in a ponytail and then grab my pre-workout that I like put in the fridge. Otherwise, it's just like easy things, like we're reading a habits book, but just like little things that you can add to your routine. I grab it out of the fridge, head to the gym, and then like that's my favorite way to start my day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like it. I might be joining you at the gym soon.
I love it. Just let me know. I'm ready.
I keep telling myself next week. I'm
We
going to
can
have
start
to.
next week.
What I should do is just like make you text me really mean
Let's go on
things.
Saturday. We can go together.
peer pressure me into going to the gym.
Oh, I
Just
love
be like,
that.
you fat turd, get off the bed.
No, you need to do it like more like motivational. Like, you know what? You're a fit queen. Let's go to the gym.
I like that better than shaming me. But
I like that too. Okay, let's end with one easy one. We'll just do 3. What's your favorite shoe in your closet right now?
Oh,
It doesn't
gosh.
have to be like ultimate like favorite shoe ever, but like what's the favorite shoe you have right now?
My favorite shoe I have right now. I have to say, I got these like cute little slip-on sneakers from Gypsy Wind,
Oh, cute.
and they're so comfortable and they're cute, and they go with everything. And so, yeah, I would have
Love
to say
that.
they're like Rocket Dogs. Big Rocket Dog fan. They're so
Okay,
comfortable.
yeah.
So those would be mine.
Carly?
Mine would be my Birkenstocks. They're the Milano style, so they have a little strap across the back, but they were my first ever like really expensive shoe purchase, which might sound ridiculous. Expensive for me. I'm not buying designer shoes.
Like Milano Blahniks or something like that.
Yeah, and so I was super excited to get them because it was something that I felt like I earned, like I worked up towards purchasing them. But also because my sisters love to say that my style is granny chic, and just like socks with Birkenstocks, as I like to say, socks and stocks, very much fits the like grandpa or granny chic vibe that I have. And so they're my most favorite. And also Birkenstocks, you can't find more comfortable shoes than Birkenstocks.
They last a long time.
They do. And so I'm very proud to have them, and they just are like the cherry on top of my grandpa aesthetic.
I love it.
That's fun.
Marcel, you have a wide variety of shoes.
I do. I love a good shoe. So now I'm racking my brain through like the shoes that I have a lot of shoes. I think my favorite ones just right now in this moment that I like, that came to my head like first thing. When we were on our honeymoon in September, I got some sandals made in Capri. So they have the base there, and then you pick the top, and then you come back like an hour later and it's ready. So they're just like a really simple, I just picked like like the simple slide sandals. So there's not any tying. It's just the one like fat strap on the front. They're black. Again, my favorite color. Like my, I like black. But they're just cute, and they just remind me of that like time that we had after, on our honeymoon. And so those would be my favorite right now, even though I can't wear them because it's winter. So I just stare at them every day.
I like them because they were made for you.
Yeah. And they like take your foot, they measure, and then they just, it was such a fun experience. Cool. Yeah. It was simple and
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure everyone was just jazzed to learn more about us today.
I think they were. Right?
I'm always jazzed to learn more about you guys. And but thank you all for joining. You can find the resources and tools mentioned in today's episode at thevault@201.com. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe and share with a friend.
Thank you to Big Sky Economic Development for supporting The Vault at 201 North Broadway. Big Sky Economic Development provides leadership and resources for business creation, expansion, retention, new business recruitment, and community development.